Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Look here, cell phones in the penitentiary is a big deal. When you have a cell phone, you have access to the world, period, point blank. It just doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying, about all the risk that comes into play and all this and that, right? You have to get to a point to where you think that it's not about the risk. I just want to do my time as peaceful as possible before you decide that it's not worth you having one. And I'm at that place, right? But I do understand those individuals that have them and want them and don't want to hear nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Don't care nothing about no tablet. I understand where they're coming from, but they have to get there on their own. But I'm going to tell you this story about this guy, one of the guys that had a cell phone and how things turned out for him. It was an amazing thing that happened. It blew my mind. I'd never seen anything like it. Ever. And I'm finna tell you about it. So you'll understand what I'm talking about when it comes to these cell phones and wanting to do this and do that. So check this out. Bruh, you know what I'm saying? We're going to call him Ralph. Okay, we'll just call him Bruh. It's not his real name. Y'all know that's not his real name. But we're going to call him Ralph. But when I was at one of these other penitentiaries, right, Ralph, he come up with this CO named Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? She was a bad little thing, you know, young girl and all this and that. And she always presented herself like she had a chip on her shoulder about just being her. She didn't like how they treated us. She didn't like how, you know, they would come into the pod and tell her to do this and that and the third, right? When she was supposed to be running the pod on her own. She just felt like they didn't trust her because she was a female and all these different types of things. And a lot of that was true. But see, the officers that would do that, they had their own agenda as well. And now some of them were not just trying to come up with her. A lot of them was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt of their experience in the penitentiary. She was new. She didn't know nothing about the penitentiary. And she was presenting herself as green as a horn. So, bruh, Ralph, he pulled up on her. And within a week or so, he got her. Talking and kicking it and doing all these different types of things with her. And, you know, sometimes, man, you know, when you come up with somebody in the penitentiary or on the streets, it don't matter, right? You have to have that level of trust, or it presents itself as trust, but it's really transactional trust, meaning you do for me, I do for you, I trust you. You feel what I'm saying? That's it, right? So this is what he developed for her. And in that, you know, she started asking him questions about how he made his money, what he did, because he was giving her money. You know, she want to get her hair done. She want to get her nails done. You know, she need a new pair of shoes. Anything like that. Anything that she just threw out there in the course of a conversation, bro was more than happy to hit her off with it, right? And after a while, he started using her to hold his money. You know what I'm saying? And he was making a lot of money every week. He pulling in over $1,000 every week just on the low. But once he came up with her, now he got a route. He got a legitimate route. Somebody that could make sure everything is straight. And she made sure everything was straight for him. Making sure his pack got there, making sure that, you know, that no officer was coming into the pod to mess with him when he was in the cell, breaking it down and doing all the things that he was doing. He got so bold. Listen to me. He got so bold as to even call her while she was at the desk on the state phone from his cell phone. And he would be talking to her on the phone and all these different types of things. And they're right in the same building. Oh, it was bold. And she'd be laughing and joking and kicking. And then individuals be walking by, even me, walk by and then we'll see her. You know, and the microwave was right behind the cage. You see what I'm saying? So we could see her inside the cage laughing and giggling and all this and that. And every now and then, all of us say, "Are you talking to your guy, ain't you?" Now, we didn't have any idea that it was bruh. You understand what I'm saying? We thinking she got somebody on the street. She just enjoying life. And she was like, "Yeah, that's my boo thing," and all this and that, and all this. And I can't wait to see him when I get off work. She got us thinking, look, she's really doing it. She done found somebody she really cares about because she's lit up. She's glowing. You know, she's really, really happy. You know? So, as time moves on, you know, she starts to get more and more involved in what bro was doing. Helping him orchestrate things. He's got her holding money. She's starting to go and meet some of the guys. And that's how I found out that she messed with one of the guys. But bro and them, they keeping everything hush hush because I was on the state phone. I ain't getting on the cell phone much like that back in the day. I did get on there, but I wasn't really trying to call the guy. I'm talking to my gal. You feel what I'm saying? But she's going by, introducing herself and meeting individuals, getting details of how the business is, finding out where stuff is stashed for him based on what he's saying. So she know intimate details that, somebody that ain't involved in the business wouldn't know. So she's presenting herself just like she's a sister now. And then, before you know it, one day, we're in the pod and bro, he talking to her and all this and that, and he calls me over, he said, Joe, let me holler at you, Rick. I said, what's going on with you, love? He said, Joe, he said, man, this is my gal right here. And I look at him, and when I looked at him, I looked around to make sure wasn't nobody else within earshot to hear what he just said to me. And then I looked, I said, oh, that's what's up. And then I just fist bumped her, you know what I'm saying? I said, good to know, you know what I'm saying? Be careful. And then I kept it moving. I go to the cell, I'm telling my COS, right, because he was my cell at the time. I'm telling him, I said, man, did you know bro got Ramirez? He was like, oh, yeah, bro, I knew that. I thought you knew. I said, nah, I just found out. He introduced me to it like at that, right? When, you know what I'm saying? I just hollered at her real quick, and said some things and kept it moving, right? Bro said, yeah, she's straight. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, okay. Anytime a brother tell me that the police is straight, right, I'm watching them. That is my COS. So I ain't got time to be playing with him. I said, let me ask you something, bro. What make her straight? Because she helping, bro. She talked to bro on the phone, this, and that. He said, bro, she into the business. She deep in the business. I said, how long has he been talking to her? He said, a few months now. And I said, she already deep in the business like that? He was like, yeah, she done met bro them on the town and everything. I said, for real? I said, okay. I said, they check her out? And this is what he told me. He said, yeah, bro, they done checked out. She's straight. I'm like, oh, okay. That's what's up. So the next time I got the cell phone, I called bro them on the town. I said, man, what's going on, man, with Ramirez, right? And at first, bro them didn't know who I was talking about. And then they said, the female officer? I was like, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, that's Crystal. I said, are we on first name basis like that? He was like, yeah, bro, she's straight, man. We checked her out, man. I done seen her mom and everybody, you know what I'm saying, at the grocery store and all this and that, right? I said, really? He was like, yeah, everything good. I said, okay, that's what's up. I said, just needed to know that. I didn't understand what was going on. I just found this out, right? So, as time go on, they getting closer and closer. You feel me? Now he trying to get her. He don't live with me. He live in another cell in the same part. He trying to get her to come on up in the cell so he can do his thing, right? But she ain't going. She ain't going. She's spooked. I get it. That's a big risk right there, because once she does that, you know what I'm saying? Other people see her in there for a while and come out. It's out there. It's out there. But see, brother got so close to her, now he trying to get him some. You feel what I'm saying? He getting his money, everything good. He helping take care of her, everything good. So he thinking, shoot, they a real couple. A real couple, like, let me get that. And she teasing him and all this and that, right? I'm seeing it from a distance, but she never would go. She never would go. So one day, she was going to the restroom. They have an officer's restroom at the front of the building. It's right there in the pod, and the cell is right across from it. It used to be a cell, but they converted it to the restroom and an office for the officers when they needed privacy or stuff like that, or they were interrogating somebody or giving somebody a piss test. But that's where they went to use the restroom. So she went in there one day, right? And I'm sitting at the table playing chess, doing my thing, right? And while I'm playing chess, she go in there and she come back out. Bro, like, let's go on back up. Let's go on back up in there. It's cool. Let's go on back up in there. We can go on back up in there. And she was like, no. And I hear her. And she's telling her, no, it's not safe. It's not safe. So I lean back and look. I said, bro, come here. He said, what's up, Joe T? I said, come here. I said, man, don't push the issue on that, man. Be careful about that. Don't push the issue. He's like, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. But we gonna do it. We just trying to find a spot. I said, I don't need to know none of that. I said, just don't push the issue on that, bro. You push the issue on that, you know what I'm saying, you might run her off. Then it's like a light bulb went off over his head. He was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. So they kept it, you know what I'm saying, restricted to the phone sex and her taking care of the business and talking on the phone and all this and that, right? He kept it to that. He's still going to visit, you know what I'm saying, seeing his gal and everything. He's still doing all of that. So it wasn't like he was starving for attention in that way, because, you know, he go to visit, knock his gal down and do his thing, and then that's it, he come on back, he good, right? So now Ramirez starting to act like she getting a little jealous, right? So he tell her, he said, look, I'll leave her for you, but I gotta know you with me. She tell him, what else do I have to do to show you that I'm with you? And he tell her, he said, look, you do everything, but he said, she do something you won't do. And she said, I just can't do that. That ain't straight. If we do that and get caught, I'm going to jail. She said, I can't do that. I don't want to go to jail. And that got him. He understood that. He didn't want her to go to jail either. He really, really cared about her, man. He really, really had feelings for her. So I'm talking to my COS in the cell. I'm like, man, I just got a weird feeling about Ramirez, man. I said, I know everybody says she's straight. I said, I know bro and them out there on the town talking about she's straight. They done met her family, all this stuff. I said, but something ain't right here. Something ain't right. And bro was like, well, what do you think it is? I said, man, I think she the police. I really do. I think she the police. I think she just playing her role for the time being, and she gonna do it. I said, bro. He said, bro, you really believe? I said, bro, I really believe that. I think Ramirez is playing, bro. I said, man. He was looking at me. He was like, Joe T. He said, man, I don't think you're giving her a fresh shot. She's shaking the spot for him. She's doing everything. I said, bro, bringing in a pack don't make her solid, man. She probably getting something out of it. He taking care of her, getting her hair done, nail done, probably paying her rent. All kind of, ain't no telling what he doing. So she benefiting from it. But that don't make her straight. She's still the police. Bro, like, you tripping. I said, all right, okay, that's what's up. Now, in the penitentiary, we get shook down quite often. You feel what I'm saying? Whether it's by the officers during the day, or they have a major shakedown where they bring other officers in from another penitentiary, or a shakedown team or whatever, and then they shake everybody down and flip the whole compound upside down, right? That happens. So, anytime she shook bruh's cell down, she already know what's in there. But I felt like it was weird that they cool like it, and she would tell him to step outside the cell and make him do the same thing everybody else do. Don't look in the cell, this and that. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure you going by the rules and everything, but this your dude, and you really ain't finna bust him. So why do you care if he's leaning on the door or whatever the case may be? Why do you care? She won't let him look at what she's doing when she's inside his cell. I thought that was odd. I thought that was really, really weird. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. This is what happened. She in the cell shaking down, and I could have sworn I heard something go like that, right? I could have sworn I heard that. You know what I mean? Because when somebody's getting a cell shook down, particularly one of the guys, we trying to really walk by and fake like we not looking, but looking, and our ears are on 100. Trying to hear what they touching, because you can tell if they're on your shelf or your hygiene at based on the sound, because we know the lotion, you pick the lotion up and put it back down, it sounds a certain way. The deodorant, it sounds a certain way. When they turn on the water on the sink and the toilet, we know what area they're in. When they're on the shelf, you can tell because you don't really hear the sound of the clothes. You understand what I'm saying? And then you can hear them go in your foot locker because it makes a sound. So you use all of those indicators to determine where the person's at in the cell. In the event you have something hidden in there, you want to know how close they got to your spot. Follow me now. Y'all try to keep up with me. Everything in the penitentiary means something. Absolutely everything. So check this out. So we checking listening and everything, and when I thought I heard that, I ain't say nothing to none of the brothers. I ain't say nothing. But later on that night, I get in the cell, I'm hollering at my COS. I said, bro, man, listen to me. I think old gal was in the cell, in Rap's cell, you know what I'm saying, taking pictures, man. I think she was taking pictures. And he was like, nah, I don't know if she was taking pictures or not. I said, listen to me. That's what it sounded like to me. That's what it sounded like to me. Then he looked at me. He said, "Hey, bro, I don't know. We might need to holler at her." I said, "Okay, let's holler at her." So I hollered at him. I said, "Bro," I said, "I ain't trying to get in your business again. I know you done said it once before." I said, "But listen to me. I believe old gal was taking pictures when she was in her cell second down." He said, "Taking pictures of what?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "What you got in there, man?" He said, "I got my stuff put up. I got my phone put up." "Why would she take pictures of it?" "Because she know I'm on the phone talking to her." I said, "I don't know, but it sounded to me like, you know what I'm saying, a picture was being taken. It just sounded weird." He said, "Joe, you tripping." Everybody telling me I'm tripping. I ain't got the sense God gave a peanut, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I just been doing this stuff forever, right? So I said, "All right, bro, that's what's up." And I kept it moving. Kept it moving. I ain't even worried about it. He ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it. I ain't going to even worry about it. So check this out. Now the TAC team come. This is like 2 or 3 months later. 2 or 3 months later. And he been, during them 3 months, let me back up a minute. During them 3 months, he been getting at her so tough because him and his gal done fell out. She done found out he's seeing somebody in the penitentiary and all this and that. And it's way more than he put it out to be. He was telling her it was about business, but he started to have feelings for her, and she could tell. A woman can tell when you caring about somebody or it's business. She could tell. So she could tell. So she told him, "Look, it's over for the time being. She don't want to be dealing with somebody that don't know what they want." You feel me? So now he's all in with Officer Ramirez. All in with her. So the thing about that for me was this. Okay, now he got a deal with her. And he almost got her convinced that, you know, it's cool to dip off into the room or dip off into the restroom. He really believes she about to go. Now let me get all the way back up now. During them 3 months he trying to get her, she kindly put him up, but she telling him she gonna do it. She gonna do it. And it's just got him all hyped up. And she's always finding a reason not to do it this day or that day. You know what I'm saying? They come into the pod whenever they plan for it to happen. All of a sudden the officers show up in the pod and want to sit in the office with her and talk to her for 20 or 30 minutes. Then she had that look on her face like she's really upset. You understand what I'm saying? But it killed the move. And I'm not looking like, man, this is too coordinated for me. Too coordinated. And I know I be paranoid sometimes. I be tripping. So check this out. Bruh thought he started to think something ain't right either. Because she keep on pushing him off and keep on pushing him off. So when it's about to go down, they done made hard plans. You feel me? They done made hard plans. They gonna do it. They gonna do it. And he want us to look out for him while they go into the restroom. So about an hour or two right before they supposed to do it, you hear on the radio, institutional lockdown. What? Institutional lockdown on a Saturday? When they start doing all that, because it's usually during the week. So it's an institutional lockdown on Saturday. When he hear that, he run to the cell. And she going around locking the doors, making sure everybody in the cell and counting everybody. And then she get to his cell. She said, "You straight? You got everything put up?" She said, "Make sure everything is put up." And I could hear her telling him that. And he said, "I got everything put up, baby. I'm good. I said, man. I said, "Man, I hope brother get through this here." You know what I'm saying? Because when they do an institutional lockdown like that and they bring in a TAC team, a search team, them individuals from other penitentiaries, and they got a whole different mindset. They taking mirrors off the wall, sink off the wall, toilets off the wall. They doing all that, shelves, everything. They taking everything off the wall. If it's nailed down, it's coming up. And they looking inside, under, and everything. You feel what I'm saying? They trying to make sure they got them wands, you know what I'm saying, they can pick up on that stuff. They got the flashlight that go through that hard plastic. If you got some in your lotion bottle, they got all of that. Ain't nothing getting by. If you get by, they didn't go in the area. You feel me? And they pretty much tapping up every inch of the cell, top to bottom. I'm telling you now, they are serious about that, right? They don't play about that. And if you want to know how this plays out, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.